What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the next gen Madden 25 video on my PS4, as well as some All-Pro Football on my Xbox 360. I'm going to spare you my normal introduction. Instead, I'm going to ask you guys, I know that the season is winding down. Madden 25 has fizzled out, and for many of you, in fact, the Madden 15 news is going to start to trickle out. But if you're only going to share one video, if you're only going to watch one video all the way through, let this be the one. Because I really held off on making this video until the end of the year so that we could go back and really revisit, to me, what is some of the most brutally, devastatingly honest truths about this game. And one of them is, to me, the living worlds and the interactive sidelines and how they really did not provide a next-gen level experience. And I think it's important that we can really take note as to what was said to us and what was shown to us. And in the description, you'll see a link. Please go back and revisit the article. Watch the video again. For some of you, it's been 8, 9, 10 months since you've seen some of this information. I want you to see that now in retrospect after having played this game for so long and see if you really feel like what was promised is what was delivered. I'm going to give you some key quotes here. Everything is alive. Everything is interacting with the play to feel more involved, more immersed in the game. 300 sideline animations, interacting with sideline characters differently. And what I want to go ahead and do is go back and compare this PS4 footage. And keep that in mind, PS4, we're talking about graphics and computing that was not even dreamed of when we're going to go back and look at the 360. And we're going to make this fair enough to compare across 3 levels: graphics, reactions, and interactions. We're going to start with the PS4 and graphics. And I will say, right off the bat, the coach does look fairly well. This looks a lot like Chuck Pagano. The player model for him is fairly accurate. But immediately, you see off to your right, Black Andrew Luck. Every player in the background is wearing the same Nike Superbad cleats. They're wearing the same helmet. Every one of them looks like Ja Rule. When we go through here, you can see there's Corey Redding, who apparently has lost just a ton of weight on my sideline for some reason. Trent Richardson in the background that has lost his dreads for some reason. Pat McAfee, again, is black as well for some reason. Also the same size as my lineman as well. And when you just scroll through here, you can see just not anything that looks truly super authentic and realistic. Every player the same height, the same weight, the same body shape. And when we go through and we think about realism, to me that impacts it a lot. So let's load up All-Pro Football. Let's take a look at the graphics on their sideline. Alright, so here we have All-Pro Football, and again, just taking a look at the graphical representation of my coach. Not as crisp, not as clean, all around, as we see with Madden. But the attention to detail, the fact that these are actually the players that are about to go out on the field, says a lot to me in terms of a next-gen experience and what we don't see in Madden. Immediately, you can tell the difference between my coach, his body shape, his body size, and William Perry that's standing beside him. He's literally half the person that William Perry is. When we roll over here, you can see that exuded further. Terry McDaniel, my cornerback, has a much smaller stature, a much smaller size than William Perry. William Perry has his neck roll in. When we roll up here, you see those again when you look at Greg Lloyd, Irving Fryer. Lloyd has his fingers taped. He has his elbow pads. Those are things that Fryer does not have. When we come up here, we take a look at Jim Harbaugh. You notice not all these players have their helmets on. Not everyone's wearing the same cleats. And again, it's not a photorealistic representation of Andre Reed, but it looks enough like Andre Reed. And for that point, they didn't have facial scanning available for this game. When you look at a player like Rod Woodson, he's a defensive player. He has his helmet on already. That's significant to me. That's a difference. When we come up here, you see very significant differences between a player like Steve Tasker and a player like Walter Payton. Just look at the size of their waist and thighs, and you can tell that these are different players. They have different shoes on. Obviously, Tasker has gloves. Again, Payton has his fingers taped. These are things that really help develop a sideline and a personality of these players on, and then not only that, but off the field. Alright, so here we are, All-Pro Football 2K8. You can see my linebacker, number 52, has this interception that he's running back for a touchdown. And to me, I think this is where you really start to see a lot of the differences between All-Pro Football and Madden in terms of creating that emotionally driven experience and something that's going to immerse you in the game. And to me, this game delivers what Madden sold. And it's a shame that that has to be said that way, but it really is just the truth of the matter. When we go over and we take a look at my sidelines to start things off with, I want you to notice, my players here, Trent Richardson, Andrew Luck, there's exuberance. Richardson is jumping up in the air. Luck is kind of pumping his fist in the background. You see my receivers all excited about this. Everybody has an individual reaction to it that shows, some level of excitement. You can see my punter there, who actually has a different cleat, if you notice, on his kicking foot. We just went through a whole segment of Madden players that did not have a kicker having the cleat. If you remember back in the day, Madden used to always say, it's in the game, one white shoe, one black shoe. Ironically enough, we find it in this game. But, you can see as you get on the board, everybody has a different reaction to what's going on. And more importantly, when we go over to the other side of the field, you're going to see that in a different fashion. We look at players over here crossing their arms, turning away, showing that it's an incomplete pass. Number 80 goes down to the ground. He's going to pound the ground. You see there number 17 kind of puts his hands up on his helmet. And then as we, run this out, you come down here and you can see their coach walking down with the play, and then once he realizes it's a touchdown, kind of just bends down with his hands on his hips, kind of in defeat. All right, so when we talk about the reactions, we're just going to notice an interception return here by Manti Te'o that's going to be for a touchdown, and I just want to show this to you. That way that's what occurred on the play, and then we're going to go back and assess both sidelines and the way they react to it, and obviously keeping in mind, comparing what we just saw with All Pro Football. So let's just start off here by taking a look at the opposing coach and the sideline. You can see, they are watching the play, but is there really that interaction where everyone's looking? You look in the background there, number 4, number 9, they're not even looking in the direction of the play. You come over here, and there's players clapping, and obviously you've got the lineman that just shows up out of nowhere. But you've got players clapping, but is anybody really displaying that emotion, or are you seeing the same exact sterile animations played out over and over and over again? And when we go over and we take a look, I don't know why it does that, but anyway, when we go over, we take a look at my sidelines, we take a look at Pagano. Absolutely motionless. Swaying, running his arms back and forth, and then that's basically the gist of it. When we look at my players, okay, they kind of sigh a little bit, but again, it's that same contrived, everyone reacts at the same time. There's no true distinction in emotion being displayed here because everyone looks the same. I want you to notice initially, every player here, in terms of my coach, my backup tight end number 86, my backup fullback number 39, are all in a different stance. And they're all going to have individual and unique reactions with Roger Craig as he runs off the field. So as Roger comes into the frame here, I want you to notice the players start to back up. It looks like my coach actually goes out to reach and grab a hold of him as if he's going to slow down his momentum as he approaches the sideline. You see number 86 is actually getting out of the way of the player a lot more aggressively than you see either my coach or my fullback. And then actually my fullback looks like he's going to dip his shoulder here in order to kind of absorb the blow, but ends up doing that a little bit too late, getting caught off bounds, and is actually knocked into the ground and rolled back onto his back. So to me, this shows, a dynamic interaction between 4 players, 3 of which, again, not on the field of play, that I expected us to see on a next-gen console taken to a level higher than this. Play this at speed. Again, I've got a crossing route. I'm kind of running toward my coach. And again, I really don't see the same level of detail that we just saw. When you watch this in slow motion, do you see anything that really dignifies or solidifies in differences between how my coach, my trainers, my linemen, my punter react? No one really has any distinct characteristics to them. They all kind of go from not paying attention to all of a sudden the players on the sidelines, and then everyone wants to move out of the way. No one's certainly making an attempt to interact with him in terms of catching him. They're just kind of getting out of the way of his path. Even players that really aren't even that much in his path, like you see the trainers there, the 3 of them in the back. They're just shifting for no reason. In the background, you're going to see here number 31, does a kind of a gesture as if this was a sideline catch almost, and then inexplicably spins around here for no reason. I just don't understand some of these nuances. No one interacts with Sean Lee as he comes over to the sideline. There's no trash talk, there is no grabbing him, there's no nothing. It's just completely sterile interactions. And again, far and away different than what we saw in the same situation from All Pro Football. And again, to me, that's what I want you guys to look at and assess in this situation, in this video, all of them, equally. Other than maybe the coach in Madden 25 looking a little bit better, maybe the background characters looking a little bit crisper, was this a true next-gen experience? Did this really add something in evolved football games to another level it had not been at before? Because to me, the answer is no, but I would love to know what you guys think about it. I appreciate you watching this video, and I'll be back in the week with more content.